What in the actual fuck? What's up, everybody? Welcome to my channel. It is Carter Scotland Allen here, and today I am reviewing Scream 1996. This is one of my all-time favorite horror films, and after rewatching it, that is most definitely true. I think I might even like it more than the original Halloween, which was by far my most favorite horror film. By far my favorite slasher film, not my favorite horror film. My favorite horror film is Jaws, but my favorite slasher film, I think now, has to be Scream. So let's get right into the review. I've got my Scream shirt on, ready to go. Let's get right into it. So Scream is obviously a horror film released in 1996. I watched this just yesterday, January 12th, in preparation for Scream 2022, which releases tonight, the day that this video drops. So if you're watching this on January 14th, this is the release of Scream 2022, which I will be watching. Well, I guess if you're watching this that day, then the premiere day. So I'm super excited watching the whole franchise leading up to that. But this film, obviously directed by Wes Craven, fantastic directing. The cast is fantastic. Neve Campbell, Courtney Cox, David Arquette, Skeet Ulrich, Matthew Lillard, who plays Tatum. Rose McGowan. There's, of course, Jamie Kennedy, and then as well as Henry Winkler as the principal, which is just fantastic. I love him, and he was great in the role. This film starts out with the fantastic opening kill of Casey Becker, which is played by Drew Barrymore, and that opening sequence is insane. It's just 10 minutes of progressively building more and more tension. Everything about the scenario helps build tension. You have the popcorn starting to burn. You've got just the layout of this house there's so much to look at. So there's so much that the audience can just like pick through and like what should we be looking at? And the camera flows so smoothly that it's like the camera's steady, but you're not. You're like, what should I be looking at? And I think it's perfect for this opening sequence. And at the time, Drew Barrymore is huge. I mean, she's huge now. So to go into this film thinking, oh yeah, she's going to be a big part of this film. She's on the poster, like, oh yeah. And then you go into it, 10 minutes in, and she's hung from a tree with her insides hanging out. What in the actual fuck? It is fantastic and awful and horrible. Her parents, right there, and she can't even let the words out. I could go on and on just talking about this opening sequence, but let's move on. The cast again was insane. The screenplay, the writing is really, really still unique to this day. Hearing all of Jamie Kennedy's character as Randy, his dialogue about horror commentary is fantastic. Knowing that Stu and Billy are the killers going into it, there's a lot of things that they say or their eye movements even that you're like, oh my god, wow, I should have seen that coming a mile away. But it's just very, very well done. The screenplay's great, and even when Sydney's being chased in her home after she woke up from a nap, you can tell that it's Stu chasing her up the stairs because he says, easy, easy, very quietly under his breath. And then you can tell that that's Stu because the next day at school, he gets smacked by Tatum, and he's like, oh, easy, easy. And so that it just, everything links, and it's perfect. This movie is one of the, it's so close to being a perfect horror film. And I think the only thing that stops it from being a perfect horror film for me personally is just that I guess the visuals. The visuals, actually, I should take that back. The visuals were great. The cinematography was fantastic. There was a few shots where I was blown away. The shot of Ghostface in Henry Winkler's eye right before he dies. That shot is fantastic, as well as the shot of the sunset right before Sydney goes to take a nap. Those two shots, I wanted to pause it. It was just fantastic cinematography. Still to this day. I guess I can't complain because it was very accurate to like what I would have assumed, high school is and things like that in the 90s. So I guess I can't complain, but it just felt a little generic-ish of a world, but the characters in it are so well put together that you don't really care about the town of Woodsboro, because the characters are what make the town of Woodsboro. It's really, it's their town because of who they are, the characters that are in it, and the stories that have been told within this world of Woodsboro. But I have some notes here. The music and the notes hinting at possible danger was absolutely perfect. Once again, when right before Sydney goes to take her nap, she goes and puts something in the closet, and there's like a weird note that happens, and you can tell that there's a sense of danger because later on Ghostface comes out of that closet, and so you could probably rewind it and think to yourself, oh, he's probably in that closet, therefore they have that, ominous tone playing when she's putting the stuff away. I wrote down here again, the death of Casey and Steve is the best opening in horror, and I used to think that the best opening in horror was the opening kill in Halloween as well as the opening kill in Jaws. But I think this tops it. Just like I said, having such a big star as Drew Barrymore, killing her off in 10 minutes, but also taking 10 minutes to develop some sort of idea about this person and to eventually end up caring and being like, oh my god, when she dies and she's barely able to talk to her parents. Once again, I could go on and on. I need to shut up about this opening sequence. David Arquette, holy crap. He was so good. He was way better than I remembered. The last time that I saw this was leading up to the release of Scream 4, which, fun fact, Scream 4 was my first ever midnight premiere movie release. My dad and I went and saw it. I could tell you the theater that we went and saw it at. I might even still have the movie stub. But yeah, so that's one reason why I'm also excited for Scream 2022 is to see another Scream in theaters, as it was my first midnight premiere and kind of got me into what I realized I wanted to do within filmmaking, and that is making horror. Thanks, Scream. Thanks, Wes Craven. Rest in peace. Kevin Williamson, the writing was fantastic. I'm sad that he's not going to be around for Scream 2022, but I'm excited that he's a producer, so that you can tell that he obviously still believes in the story and the franchise, because I don't think he would have had any involvement if it meant that he would have thought that Wes would have been unhappy. So I'm very excited for that film, but I have 3 more films to watch in the Scream franchise, so let's rate Scream 1996. Before we rate it, I had one more thing to say about Kevin Williamson, and as well as just Wes Craven in general. The horror combo with them, like, they know how to tell a story and how to guide the audience, like, visually with the camera as well as with the characters and the dialogue. They know how to guide the story and guide the audience through the story, but without making you feel like you're spoon-fed, and I absolutely love that and appreciate that from them. That was fantastic. Now, on to the rating for Scream 1996. We have 8-part system, so we rate each part on a scale of 1 to 5, and then add those up, divide them by 8. That score will be our score out of 5 stars. So, Wes Craven is the director. I had to say 5 out of 5 stars for directing. It was just perfect. He knew the story he wanted to tell. He didn't leave anything to really question. Like, he knew his plan for Scream 2, and Cotton Weary's role wasn't, you weren't coming out of Scream going, oh, but what about this? Everything had a purpose and had a reason, and that's very much so not the case in a lot of other films. So that was just really cool to see that. Straight to the point, though. Gives you everything you need, makes you feel like you're on your toes, and that's why I gave Wes Craven 5 out of 5 for directing. The cast, I gave it a 4 out of 5. I think I gave it 4 out of 5 just because some of the delivery just felt a little young. By that sense, I mean the actors they shot those scenes, very early on and weren't as comfortable, or, it's just them getting into the world of acting that just felt a little bit rough. But other than that, I absolutely loved it, and Nev Campbell did fucking fantastic. To have conversations about your mother being raped and murdered, and to have to shoot that over and over again. She did fantastic. The screenplay, once again, Kevin Williamson, I gave 4 out of 5 stars. I think just some of the dialogue after, 25 years just aged a little bit, and there's nothing wrong with that, but that's just the way I feel. And now on to cinematography. I give the cinematography a 5 out of 5. Once again, I think this is the Scream movie that has the best cinematography. Those 2 shots, like I mentioned before, that have stuck with me, and there's been no other shots in the Scream franchise that have stuck with me. The special effects and animation. The kills were great. Like I said, Drew Barrymore hung from a tree and her insides hanging out. Sorry, Drew. But like that looked real. It was gross and real. All the effects were pretty dang real. The musical score was fantastic. Marco Beltrami, I'm probably butchering that name, but he does the score for, I believe, all 4 films. Yeah, all 4 films, all 4 Scream films that were done by Wes Craven. So I'm very excited to continue watching these films, because the music is what really accelerates this film. And the fact that they had the Halloween score play for the last 10 to 15 minutes of Scream is fantastic, because it's embedded into the story with Randy and the other students watching it at the party. But it's so meta but serious and funny, and it's fantastic. It just works perfectly. Now moving on, we have the costuming and props. I know that's, a lot of people don't think about that, and that was kind of one of my things that I was thinking about in the way that the color and the blandness showed off, and that's just because high schoolers and people in the 90s, it was just, it was blue jeans and weird, generic colored shirts and stuff like that. So can't really complain, because it was accurate to the time. So I did give it 4 out of 5 stars. And with all of those scores added up, I give Scream a 4.7 out of 5. It was like a 4.73, but yeah, 4.7 out of 5. I think it's fantastic. It might even go up more and more over time. I actually had to re-rank it multiple times, because I originally ranked it at a 4.3, then it went up to a 4.4, and then now 4.7. So this could change within some time. If you DM me on Instagram, after Scream 2022 comes out, could change. Who knows? So stay tuned. I am super excited to see Scream 2022 tonight if you're watching it on the release day. But I also have a review for Scream 2 coming out later today, so stay tuned. Check it out. I had a very fun time watching that film, so stay tuned for the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Catch you in the next one.